Japanese games can be, weird.
Did you see that, Zach? Clear as a crisp spring morning. F.K. in the coffee. I knew I could count on it. Never fails.
And oftentimes, this weirdness is more funny than anything, but there are some Japanese games that are horrifyingly weird. And that's one of many ways I would describe today's topic, LSD Dream Emulator. Hello everyone, this is VGTI. Today I want to take you all down an obscure, dark alley and direct your attention to this oddity of a PS1 game from the late 1990s. LSD Dream Emulator is not your average game. If I had to describe it, I'd say it's like an experimental walking simulator. Experimental would be putting it mildly. First off, yes, all of the game is this bizarre, and that strange atmosphere is very intentional. LSD Dream Emulator is the brainchild of Osamu Sato, a Japanese artist who has made other experimental games like Eastern Mind. Sato-san didn't start out as a game developer. Rather, he expressed himself through things like his music and photography. The creative field of game development wasn't a huge leap from there, though. In Sato-san's own words, the truth is that I don't play video games at all. You see, Sato-san was in it purely for making a new artistic experience, only possible through the emerging medium of CD-ROM. It came in the form of a game, yes, but Sato-san viewed it more as contemporary art. This explains a lot about why LSD is so different from other games. So Sato-san got to it, pitching the idea to Aspect Ace Entertainment and hopping on board as the producer and designer, alongside a few others. But the real inspiring force behind everything we see in Dream Emulator is the dream journal of one of the other designers at Aspect Ace who worked on the game with Sato-san, one Hidoko Nishikawa. Nishikawa-san had been keeping this dream journal and writing in it for the better part of a decade. Since Sato-san wanted the game to be set in the world of someone's dream, it seemed only fitting then to pull ideas and inspiration from that very same dream journal. And honestly, you can really feel that when you play through Dream Emulator. The environments are fairly nonsensical looking with flashy colors, random characters, and increasingly warped textures the more you play. Yet, there's a definite through line that connects the dreams as a whole. You can tell these were all from one person, one employee who just so happened to have and record very vivid dreams. Gameplay involves exploring each environment for a limited amount of time. If you want to go somewhere else, all you have to do is walk into something. The scene changes. At the end of each dream, the dream is marked on a mysterious graph before you proceed to the next day, and do it all over again. It's a very unique premise, but sadly, the game didn't sell all that well upon release. It didn't help that an international release was off the table, making LSD all the more obscure. It wasn't until the increasing popularity of the internet and platforms like YouTube that the game gained a second life, proving quite popular with Let's Play channels and reaction videos. It wasn't long until LSD Dream Emulator acquired a dedicated cult following. By now, everything people have found in the game has been well documented and put up online, which leads me to the specific subject matter for today's theory, the Gray Man. You see, while LSD Dream Emulator is mostly all about exploring and nothing else, there's one little shady dude who throws a wrench into things as you play. Meet the Gray Man, a mysterious floating figure and wonderful nightmare fuel. The Gray Man serves a specific gameplay purpose to LSD, sneaking up on you as you play in an attempt to get close enough. If he does, the screen will flash white and the Gray Man will disappear. This means that he has successfully erased your ability to use the game's flashback mode, which is a separate mode that can be acquired shortly into the game when you want to relive a memorable moment from past dreams. It's not the end of the world, of course, though I've heard some say running into him also resets the textures getting weirder the farther in you play. Either way, he's pretty annoying, but also pretty spooky. He can only appear on even-numbered days in the game, but when he does, he has the ability to teleport around the area you're in, seemingly at random, which can lead to some wonderful jump scares. It's made all the worse by the fact that he makes no noise, just silently floats towards you. It's not quite known how he functions, exactly. A lot of the mechanics are kind of guesswork for this game. Either way, his appearances seem to be connected to the way you play and teleport yourself. He's a weird and creepy character, and my theory today is all about him. Who is the Gray Man? What in the Dream Diary inspired this ghostly figure? I think maybe I have an answer, but it's not one you would expect. Weird and mysterious games like LSD are my bread and butter, and always have been. I've known about the game since the early days of people playing through it on YouTube. It wasn't long after finding out about the game that I went on a vacation with my parents to an island on the coast of South Carolina. I think I was around 15 or 16 at the time. Before reaching the place we'd be staying, we swung by this little coastal shop that was selling merchandise related to the area. It was there that I found and bought this shirt. I pretty much decided to buy it as soon as I saw it, thanks to its eerie similarity to a certain spooky game character. So, yeah, what is this? Why is there another Gray Man occupying the minds of the citizens of South Carolina's coastal areas? And why does he look so much like the Gray Man from LSD Dream Emulator? This theory is one that's been stewing around in my brain ever since I discovered this local legend through buying a t-shirt, so let's take a deeper look at the Gray Man of South Carolina.
Traditionally in Halloween ghost stories, ghosts are described as frightening entities. But on a tiny island in South Carolina, they tell of a very different kind of spirit. Over the last 170 years, 5 deadly hurricanes have ripped through Pawleys Island. Every single one of these storms has been accompanied by a local sighting of a ghost known as the Gray Man.
It's hard to say when this story began being told, as it's been swapped around so many times that its true origin is lost in the shuffle. Some say reported sightings of the Gray Man go back as far as the 19th century, while others say it started more recently. Whatever the case may be, the story of the Gray Man gained more public, widespread attention when this episode of Unsolved Mysteries aired on Halloween in 1990. The episode interviews Jim and Clara Moore, a couple who witnessed the Gray Man on the beach in 1989. The Mystery Man's appearance came shortly before Hurricane Hugo hit that year. According to the Moores, their house was miraculously spared the destruction of the hurricane, while their neighbors' homes received heavy damage. From the looks of things, it appears the Moores seeing and waving to the Gray Man served as some form of good luck before the impending disaster.
I didn't know it was a Gray Man. I just thought it was someone on the beach until he disappeared. And then that set us to thinking.
And as it so happens, that's what most stories surrounding the Gray Man consider him to be, a warning of hurricanes and deadly coastal storms. There have been reported sightings of him throughout South Carolina's coast in recent years, with an uptick in reports flooding in after that Unsolved Mysteries episode. So anyway, what does this all have to do with LSD Dream Emulator? At first glance, one might assume the two gray men in these instances are completely unrelated. I don't entirely disagree, as this is nothing but a theory, and one that could just be a coincidence. But the way I see it, the Gray Man in LSD Dream Emulator could be inspired from one of two things: the dream diary, kept by Nishikawa-san, or something thrown in by Sato-san himself. It's hard to say which. In either case, it's very possible one of the two people had seen the aforementioned episode of Unsolved Mysteries. While the series is an American one, it doesn't rule out either of them somehow witnessing the episode, possibly through VHS imports. This could especially be likely in Sato-san's case, as he has expressed interest in American culture and media, even going so far as to visit America in the 1970s. If not Unsolved Mysteries, it's also possible either Sato-san or Nishikawa-san happened upon the legend through a book, as the Gray Man has been written about in several different publications. It becomes harder to ignore when you look up artistic depictions of South Carolina's Gray Man. In many of these depictions, he looks oddly similar in clothing to the LSD Gray Man, complete with the hat and oversized coat. You can go one step further and look at the behavior of the two Gray Men for even more similarities. Both entities disappear shortly after being sighted, for one thing. For another, both could be said to be warning people of incoming danger. In LSD's case, the Gray Man supposedly erases your texture progress, making the game ultimately less disturbing and distorted as a result. In a way, this could be seen as an effort to help the player, or in other words, warn them of the impending dream warping by helping them forget all about it. One important thing to note is the file name for the Gray Man in LSD. He goes by the name simspy.mom. Most have taken this to mean the Gray Man is some sort of spy, or is spying on the player character. This is another possible interpretation, at least about his actions in-game. This is just one theory of many that attempt to explain what the Gray Man in LSD really is. There are some other notable theories I really like, such as him being a form of hypnagogia, or him representing some sort of repressed trauma or murderer. With the random nature of the game and its loose inspirations on a person's recorded dreams, it's hard to say which of these is more accurate. As there are many ways to view this game, I hope this theory gave you a new way to look at the Gray Man, and where exactly the inspiration for him came from. Whatever the case may be, both of these ghostly figures still haunt the minds of many people to this day. Now, I'm gonna toss it back to you guys. What do you think of this theory? Could there be some connection there between these two seemingly unrelated ghosts? Or is it all just one big coincidence? Discuss in the comments, and if you have any other theories you'd like me to take a look at, let me know. If you enjoy my content and want to help support me and what I do, consider helping me out over on Patreon. I've got some good rewards for any of you who decide to support the channel over there. I appreciate all of you who stick around and watch these crazy theories. If you're new here, please consider subscribing. That's it for me today though, guys. I hope you're all doing well. I'll be back pretty soon with another video. I've actually written down a few theories that I really want to get to. So, I'll see you then.